Hi everyone, today I'm going to chat about brows because that was one of the beauty videos requested and I love brows. I've always been quite blessed with good brows and I have my mum to thank for that. Mainly because she literally never let me touch them when I was a teenager. She would only pluck them herself. So I never went through that over plucking stage, and as a result my brows have always been really full. It's been more of a case of like having to tidy them up rather than having to grow them out or having to shape them into a specific shape. They've just kind of naturally gone into this shape over the years just from me like tidying around them. So my number one tool is tweezers. These tweezers are a lifesaver. I don't really trust anyone to do my brows in terms of waxing or threading. I know that there are some places that are probably amazing at it, particularly places like Blink Brow Bar. Threading now is definitely the most popular choice. I personally just prefer to pluck as I go, so throughout the week I will just take a couple minutes here and there. Sometimes I get lazy and I just do it in one sitting, but most of the time I am doing my makeup in the morning and I spot a few stray hairs. So I grab my tweezers, and the tweezers that I use are the Mr. Mascara tweezers, and you'll see me using them in the cutaway, and these are like Japanese style apparently because they are pointy. They are the best tweezers I've ever used and I could not be without them, and I'm actually really gutted because I don't think you can get them anymore, and that is the little point if you just wanted to see up close. So they're so good because you can really grab tiny little hairs as they're still growing through with that pointy bit, and they come out no problem. They're actually a lot less painful if you're using a really good sharp pointy set of tweezers. If you're using a blunt pair, they're not grabbing the hair properly and they're much more painful and take a lot more time to use. So if you're going to be doing your own brows at home, I would say tweezers are like the number one must have. So then I move on to trimming my brows, and this is optional. This is again mainly for people who have very naturally bushy eyebrows and they tend to have too much hair rather than not enough. So if you're growing out your brows, you do definitely do not want to do this step. I find this step goes a long way in terms of how my brows look day to day. I can get away with not filling them in if I've trimmed them because just the way they sit in place once I've trimmed them, especially this bit here, just looks really neat and tidy, and I really like how it looks. So I use a big fat mascara spoolie. You can just save your old mascara and give it a really good wash with like dish soap or anything disinfectant, and then I use this, and you want to brush it upwards. So you'll see me in the cutaway brushing it quite vigorously upwards, and you want the brow hairs to be pointing up like this, and then any that kind of go above the edge of your brow shape, you want to use a little pair of slanted scissors. You can use straight ones, but these little slanted ones are so much easier, and you just really gently snip away. So you can take a little bit off at a time, and I would recommend that. I wouldn't go right to the edge and cut because you might trim them a little bit too short. Just take it little bit by bit and keep looking back in the mirror at your brow shape overall. Now talking products. So I am really low maintenance with my brows. I would say I spend much more time maintaining and looking after the shape than I do actually putting products in them. Like I said, I don't find my brows to be unruly if I do these steps, so I don't use like brow gels or anything like that. If I was to use anything, I would just use a little bit of hairspray on a mascara spoolie like this. You might have one or two brow hairs that stick at an odd angle. That is a really great tip. Just to spritz a little bit of hairspray on your mascara spoolie and it will like tame it into place. I personally think those brow gels are very overpriced for what they are. They're effectively a clear mascara, but each to their own. Some people rave about them, so they might be worth a try if you do have really unruly eyebrows. So I'm going to show you two different ways that I like to fill in my brows. The first one is just with a regular pencil, and this is probably what most people do. However, at the moment I'm using the Arc de Triomphe brow shaper from Soap and Glory, and this is quite a bit bigger than your average brow pencil. So I always make sure that this is at least been sharpened in a couple, like over the past couple of days. Obviously I don't always sharpen it to the point, but as long as it's not like really stubby, then you'll still get some precision. I just focus on the areas that are a little bit lighter. So most people will have areas in their brow that are a bit more sparse, so I just concentrate this in those areas and just really gently go back and forth over them using hair-like strokes. You want there to just be like tiny little lines on your brow, and that will really naturally make them look fuller and neater and fill in those little gaps. However, when I am going out or doing more makeup than kind of this look, I like to put a little extra product in when I've got really dark eyes, because my brows might get a little bit lost if they're a bit too light, but I still keep it really simple, really natural. And I like to use like a greyish taupe kind of shade. The one I'm using at the moment is from this Sleek palette. It's the Iron Cheek palette in Dancing Till Dusk, and it's this shade here, which is obviously very well loved. You'll see it close up. And this, if I had to compare it to any shade, it would be very similar to MAC's Omega, and that is my #1 blonde eyebrow hair product that I have in my makeup kit. So I do have that, and it is really good. Obviously I tend to just go for anything that looks similar on myself, and the brush I use is this Royal and Langnickel brush. All of the paint has worn off it because it's so old, but any angled brush is good. I obviously like this one because it's double-ended, so you've always got your spoolie on the other end, great for travel. A slightly different motion with this, so I obviously start just like I did with the pencil underneath, and I tend to push upwards. So pushing, like starting on the line and then pushing upwards, is going to blend that product up through the brow and not leave any areas that have like loads of product. It just disperses the product really seamlessly through the brow, and then with your spoolie you can give it a really good brush, and because it's powder it will move through the brow so much more. So you'll see the difference between the two. There is a very, very slight difference. I personally like both, and I don't really favour one or the other. I would say day to day I just stick to a pencil because of time reasons, it takes less time, but both look really good. And it's a case with brows of trial and error and trying different products and seeing what works for you. Please give it a thumbs up if you want more simple, easy makeup how-tos. Let me know any particular area or thing you want me to talk about. I would be happy to do that for you. Please subscribe if you are new. This is a beauty video, but I mainly do lifestyle stuff with a little bit of beauty and fashion thrown in the mix for fun every now and then. So I hope to see you in my next video. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.